Hello. This tutorial will show you how to create a website using a free service called Google Sites. To begin, you need a Google account or a Gmail address. Once you are signed in, using the sign-in feature up here, you can go ahead and click on the More tab in Google and go down to Sites. Once on the Google Sites page, you'll be prompted to create a site. Click on that button. And the first thing you need to do is you need to name your site. Now there's a couple things you can do before that though actually. If you go up to the top, you can choose a blank template, a classroom site, a family site, or a soccer team, or you can browse the gallery for even more options. Now because most of us are going to be creating a site for a classroom, we might be tempted to choose the classroom site template. Although this template is good, it sometimes can be a little too complex when you're first creating your site. So I highly recommend to start creating your site from scratch, and once you learn the fundamentals, maybe then if you'd like, you can go back to the template that they can provide. So we're going to name my site. I'm going to go ahead and name it my name. Let's do Mr. Heber's site. Okay, and I'm probably going to have to put a number after this because I've made so many of these. Okay, this actually is my URL. This will be where my site is located. So for instance, this is the web address I would give out to people, or I would copy and then paste the link somewhere. A lot of cases you'd probably want to give this out to your students. Okay, you can always shorten this using something later like snip URL or tiny URL, but we'll get to that. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a theme for my site. Plenty of different themes here. Some of these like the legal pad or the notebook theme are kind of good for education. I kind of like charcoal a lot. Retro paint, that looks like a new one. There's a lot of different types here. My favorite, really like rounders, so I'm going to choose that one. And I'm going to go down here to the bottom. I'm going to go to more options. And I can choose to give it a site description now if I'd like to. I can always go back and change this. I'm just going to go ahead, for the interest of time, skip ahead. And the part here I want you to focus on is the share with here. Now we could share with everyone in the world, meaning this site would be live, it would be public, there would be no password protection, it would just be out there. The other thing is that you could choose only people I specify can view this site, which means that you need to give email address permissions or a password permission for people to see the site. Very similar to how you share like a Google document, only the people you share it with can view it. The other thing is mature content, which is not going to apply here. The other thing is this word. This is usually the hardest part of signing up for something, so I think I got it correctly. Crossing my fingers. And I'm going to hit create site. Okay, I guess I got it wrong. Okay, so I got it on the third try. Hopefully you guys will have better luck. Anyway, this is now my interface for Google Sites. Now, I want to kind of bring your attention to a couple different things that we have here. It says at the top Google Sites. It gives me all my kind of Google. This is almost like my Google kind of dashboard, if you will. This will allow me to kind of modify my site. Now, anything below this kind of white bar right here, this is what the user would see on Google Sites. So one of the things is anything you see down here, this is actually live. This is what they call the WYSIWYG editor. I mean, you really, what you see is what you get, WYSIWYG. So from here on, we can kind of use this as our editor. Now, right now, we're not in edit mode. We're in kind of, view mode. So what we can do is right up here, if you ever used a wiki, it's very, very similar. We just hit the edit page button. So I'm just going to hit edit page. And notice my website kind of looks the same now, but now I have the ability to add content to it. So a lot of this stuff that you'd normally add in Word, you can kind of use here, okay? So, I mean, I could have a little welcome message, welcome to my website, okay? And I'm sure you'd want to have something a little bit more robust than something like that, but again, we have that option. Maybe I don't want my home page to say home. Maybe I want it to say welcome message. Okay? Maybe I want to change the font. I can go up here and I can change the font. Now, I'm not going to get all the different fonts that you might be getting in Word or something like that, but I'm going to get, the main ones that you might want to use. Nothing super fancy, but again, remember, this is a free web-based website creation tool. Okay, so say I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And now, again, my website is static. Now, a couple things happened here. Well, it kept my title. It kept my actually body of the message. And it also put and renamed my navigation here on the left. The great thing about Google Sites is it automatically keeps track of your navigation. You don't have to, link things manually unless you choose to. It really kind of makes it easy right off the bat. Okay, so there's a couple other things I wanted to kind of, showcase here very briefly. If I'm going to go back to Edit Page again, and there's a couple features you have besides just changing the formatting. You can go ahead and hit Insert. Now, there's tons of different things to insert. A couple common things like images. Obviously, that would be pictures. The nice thing is you can either do uploaded images, or you could do web address. So if you know a location with a web address of images, you can kind of just paste them in there. Be careful, though, because you might be infringing on copyrights, and also sometimes your image may be linked. So if it's linked to something that, another website that you don't want to necessarily promote, you got to be careful about that. I usually, if anything, I would save the image and then upload it again using this feature. Again, keeping in mind of copyright and citations. The other thing you can do is links, hyperlinks, and things like that. And then you got some more of these kind of gadgets and stuff like that. And, this is kind of things maybe we'll go into in the next portion of this tutorial. But for the main part, you just know that they're there. The nice thing is if you did need to insert Google video, it's either Google Video or YouTube, which is nice in some cases, and in some cases I know it might be blocked in your district. Formatting, you're not going to get anything super special here. Some of your main kind of formatting options. Tables, you can, again, nothing really fancy here. If you used tables before, it's pretty much the same kind of options. Tables tend to behave a little bit funky in Google Sites. I do want to warn you. But the one thing I do like here is layout. So, for instance, if I wanted to kind of split my welcome page, I can go to 2 column. And now notice I have 2 columns here for my welcome message. So if I wanted to go ahead and insert something like, let me go ahead and insert. Okay, so let's say I wanted to put that image in. I go ahead, I choose a file. I find the file on my desktop, and I upload it to my page. Now, one of the things you may notice, it came up a little too big. So I can go ahead, I click on it, and notice when I click on it, I get properties for my image. So I can go ahead and I can click on that. Let's make it smaller. Okay, perfect. I can go ahead and now click on it. I can maybe center it, which it really doesn't do much because it's kind of big still. But I can still save that on my welcome page. Alright, so there you go. That's saved. Now, a couple other things you may want to do, especially for the first week, is you want to go ahead and probably create your pages. So you can go ahead and hit Create Page. And this will bring you to this page. You can choose which type of template for the pages you want to use. Most cases you're going to want to do web page. That's similar to the basic type of page you might want to use. The announcements page functions more like a blog. The filing cabinet is more like a place where you can kind of upload worksheets and handouts and things like that, and it kind of organizes them in folders. And a list is kind of more like a checklist or something that really can be with a lot of items that can be sorted. Kind of like a poor man's spreadsheet, I guess, kind of embedded into the site. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose web page, and I'm going to choose, I'm going to type in homework. Let's just say I wanted a homework page. Okay, now right now it's going to say my page is located after site or /homework. Now, putting on the top level. That means it's going to be on the same level of pages as my other pages. Now, if I wanted to move it under the welcome message, that would basically mean, as far as the navigation is concerned, that this would be a sub-page of my welcome message. Now, in some cases, you may want to do that, especially secondary. Say you have, 3 different preps you're teaching. You have biology, chemistry, and earth science. You may want to have earth science, and then under that, a sub-page for homework, a sub-page for the calendar, a sub-page for labs. And then you have chemistry as a top-level page, and then a sub-page of that homework, a sub-page calendar, and a sub-page labs. It really depends on how you want to kind of structure your site. And that's one of the things you're kind of brainstorming about this week. Okay, so I'm going to hit Create Page, and like magic, I now have my homework page. So now on my homework page, I can put whatever, things I want to do. I can put my information and my content right in here. But one of the other things that I can do that's nice is I can add attachments. So I can click on the attachments. I can hit Choose File. And if you've ever done an attachment in email before, this will allow you to kind of add an attachment to your website. And let's see, what do I have here that I'd want to attach? I don't know. I got a lot of junk. Okay, let's just say this one. Boom. Okay, so now I've attached this document here, and now it's part of my website. So if I have maybe a lab or a series of homeworks that I want here, I can put the most recent attachments, the worksheets, because inevitably the students are going to lose them. You can just attach them directly to your site. Okay. Again, if I wanted to, I can have comments here, so I can allow users to post comments. Now, remember, my site is right now public, so anyone right now can add comments. So I don't really want that for my site. I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save here, and we're going to go into one of the other buttons up here. It says More Actions. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on Page Settings. And what that's going to allow me to do is that's going to allow me to edit the individual settings for this particular page. So I'm going to hit, I wanted the page title, I want links to subpages, but I don't want to allow comments. Alright, that's just a whole nother can of worms, and I know that we've talked in previous weeks that, that's going to be a big project in itself. You may want a separate page for that. You don't want them really, commenting on the homework necessarily. I mean, I don't know, maybe you do, but in my case, I don't. So I'm going to hit Save and watch that the comments section is now gone. Great. Okay, and that kind of brings me back to this More Actions part here. A couple things that you may have seen in other Google kind of programs or applications is revision history. Similar to how it works in Google Docs, you go back, you can see what changes have been made, and then you can resort to them if you, or revert to them, I should say, if you need to. You could subscribe to page changes. Now, that's kind of good because if you have another teacher you're collaborating with this on, a co-teacher or something like that, you could see when they do changes. Print page, move page, those are self-explanatory. Delete page as well. You can even see the page as a viewer, which basically is the same thing we're seeing now, except it gets rid of that top bar, and we can just close out of that tab, and we're back to normal. You could save the page as an entire template. You could either change the page template. So right now we have this as a web page. Maybe I wanted to turn it into a filing cabinet page because I'm gonna have a lot of handouts here. But not a problem. It automatically recognizes I had handouts. It puts them in the filing cabinet, and if I wanted to, I could rename these different things, and I could even create folders to put them in. It's pretty nice. Back to More Actions. You're going to also want to go to Manage Site, and from Manage Site you have the ability to kind of edit all the different functions of your site. The main one that people like to do is the site layout. You can customize all that. You can play around with all these features. Maybe you want to do horizontal navigation instead of left side navigation. Maybe you want to change the colors and color scheme of your site. This is different than the theme. Or maybe you want to just change the theme altogether. So you can kind of play around with that, create the skeleton for the first week, and in the subsequent weeks we'll add more content to it. Thanks. Enjoy.